All right, looking like we are live now. So yeah, looks like we're good to go. So I'm gonna just hang for a little bit till we get some people logging in here. I know I haven't gone live in a little while. I don't know how long it's been, probably maybe a month actually. So sorry guys, I haven't really doing much live streaming, just been busy with other stuff. So some of you guys maybe caught the Oscars last night, and I didn't see the Oscars, but I was definitely paying attention to all the articles this morning talking about how the ratings were. Because as some of you guys know, I had released a video about the Grammy ratings being really far down. I think they lost like 20% or something like that. And I'd obviously made the prediction that the Oscars, of course, will be low as well. Anybody could have made that prediction. That wasn't some sort of really hard thing to see coming. But the ratings did obviously fall, and these are some of the early numbers that are coming out now. So as we wait for some of you guys to come onto the stream, because I do want to ask your guys' opinion on why you think the Oscars ratings are going down, because I wanted to, you know, why do I care? Who cares about ratings, right? Okay, the reason why I think this is interesting and important for us, because we are music producers trying to make a living by getting our music placed in TV shows, movies, and commercials. And the Oscars is obviously one of the big sort of zeniths, the sort of epicenter of a big part of the industry that we're striving to be a part of. And as you saw from my screenshot, my thumbnail for this video, it is tanking. It's like the Titanic kind of going down right now. And ratings are important because it gauges the interest and the attention that people are either paying or not paying to a particular side of this, you know, industry that's going on. So I think it's obviously very important for us, especially if you're trying to get into music licensing full time and you kind of see something like this happening where there's an interest tanking. It might give you a little bit of worry, a little bit of like, what's this going to look like for my career down the road? And it's something you should be thinking about, obviously. So I pay attention to ratings, trends, that kind of thing. I'm not interested in who won which category, even the composer won this, won that. That's great. And if you were a part of any project that won something, we actually had a syndicate member that won a Grammy and was a part of a project that won a Grammy. And I was like, that's awesome. You know, so I don't want to discount any of the sort of any of my opinions shouldn't be. It's not meant to be discounting anybody's really hard work that they put into putting a film together or music or any of that stuff. I know it takes. Obviously, I know how hard it takes, how much work it takes to put together a product worth buying. Like, I know that that is not an easy feat to do. So I definitely am not discounting anybody's hard work at the Oscars, at the Grammys, anything like that. Okay, so I hope we can separate that I'm not trying to criticize people who are winning these awards. That's awesome. But what I'm saying is there is an interest decline going on in society, okay, in America, basically. So we should be talking about that, you know, understanding maybe why that's happening. And I'm just really curious as to what your guys' point of view is on that, because I have my opinions and I have my sort of perspective on it, but I'm also really curious about you guys. So that's why I wanted to make sure that I live stream this, because I want to ask you guys your opinion. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go through this article and kind of show you some of the raw numbers about what really actually happened. But while I'm doing that, I would like you to, if you caught the Oscars or even if you didn't, in the comments right now, in the live chat, please tell me why you think the ratings are going down, because they definitely just are hitting an all-time low. So there's no doubt about it. These are going down. Why do you think they are? And I just want to know what your perspective is, because I want to gauge where your guys' perspective is on this. So obviously the link is in the description below if you want to follow along. But this is from tvline.com. So the Oscars continue to be less golden. The broadcast of the 90th awards show on Sunday drew an 18.9 rating and metered marked results down 15% versus last year's ceremony to mark a fourth straight year of decline. Not good. 18.9 overall rating, which covers the primetime hours and thus not the final stretch of big awards, represents an all-time low, placed beneath the 21.9 that 2008 ceremony polled. The 2017 telecast went on to report 32.9 total million viewers, a 9-year low, and a 9.1 demo rating. So, Yeah, so that's basically all that there was out of this article. I thought they actually went into a little bit more detail on it, but no, that's pretty much it. So basically, more and more people are tuning out. They're not interested, and they're not watching this stuff anymore. So I'm gonna kind of find out from you guys, kind of going through your comments now, finding out what you guys think. All right, so Burn Ban, you say the Oscars were boring. Okay. Ratings down because of fragmented media environment and fewer people buying into singular media narrative. It just feels okay. Yeah. Okay. So I can see that you're saying that it's basically no, the centers of control, the sort of distribution channels have been broken up so much that maybe people's attention are being spread out into a couple of places. Death by Jesus. Love my channel, bro. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Burn, because really, who cares about these trophies? Because it's very preachy and political, even if you agree with him. Okay. Actors, yeah, must be the most important. So it's a little bit, so Burn saying kind of like there's some pretension, obviously, of giving themselves so much importance in society. Maybe people get turned off by that. I could see that. And the political side, that's probably the most common thing I hear. People are just tired of the political, rants and talks and stances that these actors are making while they're on stage. You think the ratings are down because they are catering to a white demographic? Okay. Death by Jesus, definitely a factor. With social media these days, they need to appeal to a more ethnic, I think you meant to say, audience. This is a good thing in your book, Keith. Okay. Tell me why, Keith. I want to know why you think that the ratings going down is a good thing. I'm just curious. Let's see. Trevor wishes he was a woman. Hey, let's stay on topic, Trevor. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly why that. Elaborate, Trevor, if you would. Let me know what you mean by that. Something to do with, because I didn't watch the Oscars, so maybe something happened last night that I don't know. I know the Me Too thing and the Time's Up thing is going on now, so maybe you're kind of talking about that. Keith says you forgot it was on. Okay. So you're busy writing. That's good, man. You're too busy working. That's a really good problem to have, actually. The song Master Your Love was a good performance. Okay. So, it seems like so far what we're getting is it's political. It's there's all these different things pulling our attention to different places you didn't even know it was on. Now, that's one thing that I definitely noticed, that most years when any award show is about to go on, like, you just hear about it, right? I mean, I don't even have cable TV or anything like that. I have like an Apple TV that I have, whatever, Netflix and Amazon and all that kind of stuff. But there was a little bit of it bubbling up on social media that I saw, but it wasn't like in my face, like the Oscars, like nothing like that happened this year. So same thing with the Grammys. I just didn't notice a sort of real big, Trevor says Kimmel said it. Oh, okay. I don't know. I didn't see that part. There wasn't this big sort of like attention grabbing, like, you better watch the Oscars, some great things are going to happen, you won't believe, blah, 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 blah. I just didn't feel that bubble up at all, like in my just field of view, like in my peripheral, in my direct focus, like in my life. I just wasn't seeing a lot of this happening. And I think a big part of that probably is just because TV, the old medium of how people used to get their information about the world, from your news to your entertainment to everything, you couldn't go probably 3 hours watching TV without somebody talking about the Oscars or telling you that it's going to be on. You better tune in. And they just hyped it up to be this big thing. And because I think that was either one of you guys had mentioned that fact that that we've sort of fragmented our attention a little bit now, because you have so many different places to get your information from the world that, there is no more singularity of focus. There's no sort of single thing that comes at you and says you better watch it now. So that's really kind of gone. Keith, the reason you say that is because the Oscars are geared primarily towards these huge artists. If these top major label companies start to tank, hopefully it'll open up room for us. So I think you're talking about the Grammys, because you're talking about major artists and you're talking about the Oscars. I don't know if you meant the Oscars or the Grammys there, because you're kind of conflating the music business and the Oscars. So not sure. Maybe you did mean that. You can get the results without having to watch. Yeah, that's true. That's a very, Keith, that's a really good point, actually. Like, this wasn't a reality. It wasn't an option, I don't think, before the internet that you could just log in somewhere and find out who won. You'd have to literally, well, the newspaper, I guess you could wait. It was still there. I mean, that's kind of there and kind of not there. But there's also, I know people that live blog it and they put up the results live on other websites. So you don't have to sit there and watch the commercials and all that kind of stuff. You can kind of just go, who won Best Picture? Oh, okay. You're right. I mean, there is definitely that sort of live aspect that you can find out instantly without even watching it. Death by Jesus. You don't like Kimmel, okay? Yeah. So Keith, you were probably talking about the Grammys. So, and now when you say open up room for us, what do you mean? Open up room for us to win awards at the Grammys, or I don't know what you mean. Open up room for us because to me the door's wide open. I don't know. Nobody's keeping us down right now. We've got all the opportunities in the world to. If you're talking about like artists, maybe. Making a full-time income for themselves, it's tricky and it's hard, but you don't need a label anymore. That's for sure. I mean, unfortunately, consumers, I don't think, are purchasing music as they used to, just because now, you know, obviously it started with the digital downloads issue, the Napster thing, and then now with streaming, it's like, you know, why buy a whole bunch of stuff and keep it on your smartphone when you can just have it on demand whenever you want it. So there's a lot of that stuff going on for sure. And by the way, you guys, I remember I had told you that I had an awesome mug that I could not find before because for some reason it was hiding. But courtesy of Trevor in the chat, actually, this is my official mug for my company here. Hopefully you can see that. So thank you, Trevor. I drink out of this almost every day. It's awesome. Yeah, you can see that. Okay. So that's not for sale. So I don't have any swag, man. There's nothing I can give you guys there. Safe choice as a host. Yeah, I mean, let's not get too bogged down in the details of the hosts and who won and who didn't win. I mean, guys, honestly, that stuff doesn't matter because next year nobody's going to be talking about any of this stuff right now. So I want to kind of keep our focus more on where we think the industry is going and what the ratings mean and where the trend is going and what this means for music licensing. Jimmy Kimmel, who cares? It doesn't really matter, you know. None of that stuff actually really does matter in the long run for your career, like, you know what I'm saying. And I want to make sure that, like, when we're doing, at least I want to dedicate this channel to meaningful stuff that can really actually impact you. So try to, you know, not think about the little things about who won, who didn't win, if you like them, you don't like them, but think about what is this meaning for society as a whole when it comes down to the entertainment industry and where it's going. So yeah, okay. So I've kind of gotten your guys' perspective on it, and I think I kind of more side with the fact that I side with the fact that I think the gatekeepers and the monopoly of distribution has been broken wide open, and that's what you're seeing happen right here. People say that it's the political stuff, that they're catering, that they're doing this or doing that. Even if this was a completely neutral performance and a neutral award show, and there were no political stances, and I don't even know what was said or done last night. I'm sure something political was done. But even if they sort of just stuck completely to just acting and just filmmaking and stayed completely out of politics, I can't imagine that the ratings would be much higher. I mean, maybe a little bit. It wouldn't turn off some people, but I do think that the political stuff it just happens to be happening right now. But I do think that this is more of an indication of technology. I do think this is more of a breaking apart of our the monopoly of attention that used to be had by TV networks. You know, they used to actually really have a monopoly, you know, of our attention on what's going on in the world and what should be important, right? If you can get the whole country to believe the Oscars are the most important thing that you have to pay attention to, and you really got to know who's going to win and what are they going to wear and all this, then you get the entire country believing that that's important, right? And so we all sort of like hold this thing up as a really important cultural moment in our society. And so that's what used to be the norm, especially for this one big section of the entertainment biz, the sort of film movie side of the business. But now, we don't have to get our entertainment, and we don't have to be told what's important. And we're so, because we're now not like plugged into the same sort of channels of communication like we used to be, you know, what's important to you on a Sunday night is not as important to me on a Sunday night. And what you're looking at is not what I'm going to be looking at. And we're not all getting actually the same message from our various points of information that's coming at us. So there's definitely a fracturing of our attentions that is happening right now. And so I think that what that means for us as music producers is to, you know, and I know that a lot of people, like maybe you're watching this right now and you're like, man, you know, my dream is to be a film composer. I want to actually compose like a major, and I want to win an Oscar for, you know, best score or something like that. And you see this as like your pinnacle and sort of the top part of your career of what you can really achieve in this business. And you're looking at these ratings going, that sucks. Like this thing is going down. So, you know, it might be bumming you out a little bit thinking like, man, the thing that I'm chasing is kind of on its way out. Like, great, good timing for me, right? But what I want to do is maybe just share a little bit of optimism, because what I say, and I think somebody had said it, that they think it's a good thing. And I do think so as well, because this is a very exclusive, small minority of people getting these awards, participating in this whole process, and being a part of this group, okay? And you don't really need to win an award to be making a full-time income doing this kind of thing, right? And you don't have to win an award to actually do meaningful work and to really be satisfied with your career. So the more that this kind of stuff starts crumbling, these sort of like, you know, huge industries that sort of used to be gatekeepers about who could be awarded and who couldn't be awarded and who's going to get the airtime and who's not going to get the airtime and who can get into the theaters and who can't. But now you have these things being broken up, and so like anybody with real talent and a real work ethic can actually succeed. It means it's going to allow for people like you to start working with those sort of up and coming directors and content producers that might not be making it on a red carpet on prime time, okay? But again, this stuff is just, it's kind of going away and it's becoming less relevant. So really at some point it's going to be like, who cares? That's really where we're going. Who cares? Just go make some great music. Just go make a great piece of content. Get it distributed in any method, in any place that you can. And go for it and actually get out there, because people are willing and they're looking and they're hungry for really high quality entertainment right now. You know, because of all this competition, I think you've been seeing like a lowering of the quality of the films and the movie quality that's going out into theaters. I mean, I mean, the last time I went to the theater probably was a year ago, maybe more than that. I don't know. It's been a long time since any, and it's not so much that I think that every movie that comes out is terrible. I just don't hear about them. I honestly, like, I don't see the previews. I'm not getting like inundated with like, you got to come see this blockbuster movie. It's going to be great. I'll hear something about something, but it's never like, wow, this seems really interesting. I should go check it out. So my attention now has completely been taken away from the sort of the usual methods of distribution to hype something up. And so that whole side is just been crumbling. People are just not going to the movie anymore. And because those numbers have been going down, Hollywood, to react to that, I think what they've been having to do is only try to focus on major, huge blockbuster movies that get the most amount of butts in the seats. Like they can't really experiment on an avant-garde or kind of an experimental movie or something. They can't take too many risks these days, because they have to get the 8th graders and the 8-year-olds all the way to the 80-year-olds. They have to get everybody into the theater. So that's why you see a lot of these, you know, Marvel and huge movies being produced, and you kind of just see this watering down of taking risk, and it just seems like most movies are kind of just a formula, and you kind of know what's going to happen, and it's a lot of special effects and explosions, and like it's just the same thing that you kind of expect every single time now. But because they know that like that's what gets butts in the seats, that's what most people want to watch, and if they're going to go to the theater, they want to see something like that. That's the only reason why they're going to show up anymore. So that's why you've probably been seeing this sort of steady decline in quality of content that Hollywood's put out. And then what that does is it's left this wide open gap for Netflix producers and Amazon producers and YouTube producers and online content creators to create really good, high quality, maybe even experimental, interesting work that you can't go see in the theater anymore. So again, there's a lot of factors being in play. I don't think the political side of this stuff is really the main cause of it. I think that's probably exasperating it. It's probably putting fuel on the flame. But I think that this thing has been crumbling for a long time because of technology. I think technology is giving us this thing. Now, before I give you my positive end note, let me just check some of these comments. I know we had some stuff going through. So, Trevor, here's your quick take. You think films are spreading out and aren't being centralized at the top anymore? People consume what they want to see more and more and aren't watching what big wigs say. Yep, pretty much, yeah, you summed it up way better than I did. That's pretty much my point of view, too. Social media as well. You never sold a license to a big-time budget. I'm viewing this through information small lines. Keith says there have to be 100 sports channels versus regular channels. Not really sure what you're talking about there. Emily, what do I think of AWOL? What is AWOL? AWAL? Does that stand for something? Is that a company? I don't know what AWOL is. Your wife makes you go to the theater? Okay. AWOL is from Cobalt. Again, I don't know. Maybe I'm not plugged into the pop culture. That's not helping me at all. Okay. So yeah, that basically, I think Trevor's comment kind of just summed up what my point of view is. But my optimistic ending to this story is that you do have new opportunities in front of you. Okay. So even though this thing, what we're seeing right now is crumbling, I think people get really, they find despair in that. They get bummed out. They say, like, you know, where is this going to go? I don't like where this is heading. But what I see is, again, kind of the same thing that happened when the labels, major labels started crumbling, is I started sort of like breaking free of the sort of like chains of distribution that you had to like go play ball and do business their way in order to succeed. And you don't really have to do that at all anymore. And so in the music licensing business, I'm really excited to see what the new avenues are going to be. Okay, so when this starts crumbling, like, just think about this logically. If the Oscars keep crumbling, nobody's watching it, and nobody's going to movies anymore, do you think that people are just not going to want to consume entertainment? Like, that'll just be the end of people wanting to watch either movies or TV shows or anything that'll just kind of get them lost into a story? No, of course not. Like, all that's going to do is create a vacuum for another industry to come and fill it up, or multiple industries. I think it's going to be multiple industries that take little chunks of everybody's attention. That's what's happening right now. So virtual reality, augmented reality, video games, online streaming. There's a lot of little tiny, I mean, I say little tiny, they're all taking a portion of this industry that is crumbling. So they're starting to take in everybody's attention because they are able to adapt to the new technology. Hollywood has theaters, okay? Theaters are sort of a big, bulky, kind of clunky business model that doesn't work, and it doesn't compete with this, right? So I have all the entertainment I want in my pocket, at my fingertips, or on my Apple TV, or on my computer, or on my desktop anytime I want it. I don't have to get in my car and go to a theater to enjoy really high quality content anymore. There's probably better TV shows, stories, movies, and stuff through streaming right now. Honestly, let's just be honest. The better stuff is probably not going to be coming from a theater. So the Hollywood industry, the studios, they're kind of becoming the record labels, right? They're just dragging their feet. They're not really adapting. They're just sort of like throwing out the same old, and they're not able to be nimble with this changing world. So if they don't get their act together and reinvent themselves and figure out how to do it, it'll just be a dead industry. Like, there's just not going to be any life being, the money will dry up, the investors will dry up, because it's going to be like, hey, you're not making money anymore, I'm out of here. And all the money will start chasing other outlets as well. So I think that's going to be a great thing. And I think that's awesome for like average Joe producers like you and I, okay? We're not Hans Zimmer. We don't have those relationships. We're not best friends with Steven Spielberg. We can't just hand music to people that are going to get them into major blockbuster movies. We got to fight. We got to hustle. We got to go to war every single day, okay? But that means that with this industry going the way that it's going, the trend is up for us, okay? For the average Joes, for the people that are like just trying to get our foot in the door, we just want to make a full-time living doing this. The trend is in our direction right now, okay? If you were sort of making your living just from Hollywood and just from these major motion pictures, your trend, you know, maybe you're you got enough money, so whatever. But your trend is not heading in the right direction right now, right? Because your industry is being left behind. So either you got to jump ship and start composing and working with new technological mediums, or you're going to go down with the ship as well. So it is a Titanic. I mean, this thing is sinking in front of us, and we're watching it. And I also, like, part of me just loves the drama of it all. I just love watching like big, huge things happen. I'm kind of a nerd for those really, if you guys ever watch those really dry, like PBS documentaries that have the old black and white pictures where there's like a really stale voice and he's telling a story. It's some of the most boring documentaries you could ever watch. But I love those things because I'm always just trying to put my head in what would it feel like to be alive during this, epic sort of historical time, either in American history or world history or whatever. And I'm always trying to zoom out a little bit sometimes with whatever's happening right now today and think about, like, if we were in a documentary right now, that was made 50 years into the future or 100 years in the future, what would the black and white pictures look like zooming in on people? And what would you be feeling if you were alive during that time? Now, of course, Oscars tanking is it's not really that important. It's really not that big of a deal, honestly. Like, historically, who cares? But it is, I think the technology is the big story of our lifetime, okay? And so what we're seeing is technology is disrupting and it's like a tornado. It's just destroying all the old paradigms that we've gotten used to and we just taken for granted. And it's taking little forms like this. Like, you see this stuff happening, ratings declining, people not paying attention anymore. And that's like just little pockets of this thing showing its head and saying, like, okay, this is what's happening in with this technology disrupting everything. This is one manifestation of it, and you're kind of just watching it happen all over the place. So I mean, I just personally embrace technology. I think it's going to do, and it has been doing, amazing things for us as a society. It's definitely done awesome things for me as an individual in my life. So I love it, and I love seeing the chaos that comes from it. I kind of maybe I'm a little bit more I don't know, maybe I embrace the chaos maybe more than some people. Some people get a little bit more freaked out by it, but I love seeing the squirming. I love seeing the sort of, oh my God, because I know that you don't get change and you're not going to make the world better unless some people are uncomfortable. It's just the way it is, right? Like, if you've ever made a massive change in your life where you've either, kicked an old habit or lost weight or whatever, you did something that was really hard to do, how uncomfortable you got before you did it. You got to be uncomfortable. Like, there's got to be some people that get really uncomfortable with how the way the world is and seeing all this change happen before things get better. So the more that I see people panicking and sweating, like, oh my God, what is this going to mean? I kind of always think of, like, well, I know that that's always step one, and step two usually is something better comes out on the other end of it. So that's just my opinion on it, just my take. So, all right, let's do a last little run on the comments here. So, Mike, what's up, man? Let's see. All the changes are due to lack of socialization. As you said, we trend towards mobile apps and private individual viewing. Yeah, absolutely, man. In addition, the chaos in social environments, domestic terrorism, for example, causes hesitancy and socialization now. Yeah, you might have to expand on that a little bit, man. Not exactly sure what you mean by that. What else did I miss? Oh, okay. So Emily, AWOL is like an app built on transparency, gives artists analytics fast and pay. Okay, I'll check it out. I don't know if it's for the music licensing side of things or if that's more for artists that are trying to sell stuff. I'll have to check that out. I don't know much about it, but thanks for bringing it to my attention. So that's it, guys. Well, thank you guys for your opinions on that. I really wanted to know what you thought about the Oscars and what was going on with them. So that's my 2 cents on it. So I think it's good news. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's to be embraced. And rather than being bummed out about it, if this is what your lifelong dream was to eventually win an award, be encouraged that I do think that with this crumbling industry in front of us, we're going to see a rush of new opportunities come into it. But you got to be prepared to take those, okay? And you got to be looking for those and be open to them. There's a lot of musicians and a lot of producers that are really sour and bitter and just, it's terrible. We don't make any money, and this is not, or the streaming is not paying us, so it's over. I just don't have any time for that because I'm too busy working on really cool things and building up new opportunities. So it's like, okay, enjoy, like, just have fun with your pity party and you kind of just souring about the industry and all that good stuff. great, more room for me, more room for people that are like me, that want to take advantage of what this new technology has to offer. And I do believe this firmly. This will be the last thing I say before I get off here, is there is going to be, and there's definitely happening right now, a huge divide happening in humanity. And there's one half that is embracing technology, looking for opportunities, looking to use technology to better themselves, how they can make themselves more productive, more impactful, live a more meaningful life, help more people, whatever your thing is in life. You're using technology to do that, and you embrace it. You don't get scared of it. And then there's the other half that's resisting it, not sure what to do with it. They're feeling like they're getting left behind. They're really worried about it, and they're suffering, and they're just not knowing. They feel like they're just treading water, barely keeping their head above water, and they're not doing well with it. And you don't want to be in that group. I can tell you this, because this pace of change with technology is never going to slow down, ever. Okay, so that might sound really scary to you, but you better acclimate yourself to that reality now, that you think things are changing fast now. This rate of change will exponentially increase, okay? So that means that not like every year it'll start feeling just a little bit faster. From year to year, you're gonna feel the doubling effect, and you should be feeling that now, where last year's rate of change, this year's rate of change will double what you felt last year. So the amount of crazy stuff that happens this year will be twice as crazy as it was last year, and next year it'll be twice what it is this year. So you're gonna start seeing this amazing opportunity, or this change happening in society. And if that freaks you out, and that's sort of giving you a lot of anxiety, and you really are resisting that, I don't know. I mean, I can't obviously change anybody's mind. You have to make your own choice with how you want to perceive all this kind of stuff. But this is happening, and it is not a it's not a trend. It's not a, I mean, it's not a fad. It is a trend, but it's not a fad that's just going to peter out and then that'll be it. This is going to continue on for the rest of your life, and it's going to get more and more intense. So my just little bit of advice is kind of jump on, saddle up and embrace a little bit of the chaos. It's going to be a kind of a crazy ride. We're going to see some insane things. And I actually have been saying this to people just in the last couple of months, that if you enjoy reality as it is now, just savor basically this year and next year, savor enjoying waking up and seeing the world how you see it right now. Because once augmented reality becomes regular, and it will become regular, you're not going to see reality the same ever again. Virtual reality is obviously going to do the same thing. So if you think that you are your sense of perspective is being shooken now, just wait until you actually physically see the world a completely new way. It's going to be a wild ride. Okay, so can't change it. I can't change it. You can't change it. Nobody can change it. It is sort of a force of nature that's just happening. And it's an interesting concept. It's something maybe I'll talk about in maybe another video. But why is this sort of all this crazy stuff happening with technology, and why is it racing us towards some sort of moment of, I don't know what it's going to race us towards, but it's definitely this ongoing, just like, hey, what else can we do with this piece of technology? Can we make it faster and stronger and better? And what new thing can we do? What new app can we release? What new technology can we put out together? We are sort of as a species addicted to creating new tools and new technology. And it's going to be a wild ride. So I say buckle up, have fun, enjoy it, embrace a little bit of the chaos. It's going to be weird, but whatever you can do to harness and use technology to empower yourself, you're going to wind up on the winning side. You're going to wind up on the side that's living a fulfilled life, that's living a meaningful life, that's living a stress-free, anxiety-free life, right? There's a lot of people where all of this change is just freaking them out to their core, and it's a lot to deal with. And I have a lot of sympathy for them. I'm not trying to say it's their fault. Nobody prepared us for this. Nobody said hey, when you get to 2018, you're going to see all this crazy stuff start happening. Nobody prepared us for this stuff. So I don't blame anybody for it, but I'm just saying now is the time to get yourself in line with it, right? Accept it. It's happening. What can you do to harness it to make yourself more productive, more profitable, more efficient, whatever it is, okay? All right, guys, I'm out of here, and I'm going to go back to doing some work today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for your opinions. Make sure you like the video if you found this useful or informative or just entertaining, right? I'm competing with the Oscars because I'm trying to be entertaining for you guys. So we are all competing basically for your attention. So thank you guys so much for paying attention. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so already. I have videos coming out basically twice a week, and I have some really cool ones scheduled for this week and next week. So you definitely don't want to miss those out. So make sure you do subscribe. So have a great day, guys.